I've got plenty of room for all of you.
No thanks, Morris. Mom will be a lot happier down in the Delancey Street. We're going to take her to Coney Island on Sunday.
Lina Basquette, Part 2. Lina, undeterred, went on to star in Come Across, which got her good notices in Variety, and also starred in Columbia's The Younger Generation, which was a part talkie released in 1929. Directed by Frank Capra, Lina played Birdie Goldfish, the daughter of Jewish immigrants played by Jean Hersholt and Miss Rosanova, whose lives are all changed with her brother, Morris, played by Ricardo Cortez, gets rich and moves the family uptown. Like Richard Barthel Mrs. Weary River from 1929, The Younger Generation had alternating silent and talkie scenes. Check out Lina in this first scene.
I'll tell you something, you little tin god. Who brought us up here from the east side because he was afraid we'd disgrace him if we stayed there? You did.
Birdie, stop, honey, Birdie, stop.
I won't stop. Who took Papa away from the life and the friends he loved? Who buried him in this cold Italian tomb and made him look like an antique? You did.
Oh, shut up.
I won't shut up. You're killing Papa, and you don't know it.
I think...
Lina had a rich and pleasant speaking voice that reminds me of Jean Harlow's. Here you can see her hold her own while sparring off against her brother, played by Ricardo Cortez. That tough girl character from The Godless Girl continued. But again, Lina was able to make her characters multidimensional, as seen in this next scene, which was silent. Lina brilliantly portrays the difficulties Birdie is having with Eddie, her love interest, showing she was just as comfortable with tearjerker material and probably why she was nicknamed the Screen Tragedy Girl by one publication. While not a huge hit, The Younger Generation was critically acclaimed and got good notices for Lina. The New York Times wrote, "Lina Basquette is engaging in the part of Birdie." Motion Picture News listed Lina under a reason for the drawing power of the film. With this film being relatively successful, you would think that Lina was about to continue on into talkies as a full-fledged star, but the Warner Brothers were back in her life and had other plans. Remember when I said that in part 1 that they started to blacklist her on Hollywood in 1928? Well, they had never stopped. In 1930, whatever they were doing finally took more of a hold, and Lina was unable to find any more work at any major studios. To top it off, the Warner family took custody of Lina's daughter, Lita, by tricking her into signing a guardianship to ensure Lita's inheritance, which ended up seeing Lina lose all rights to her child by the end of the year, even the right to see her. Depressed and destitute, Lina attempted suicide. Thankfully, she survived and decided to dive back into whatever work she could find, even if that work was Beam Pictures at Poverty Row Studios. Most of these V-movie opportunities for Lina were westerns, at least her starring roles, whose producers were impressed by her ability to train and ride horses, and her comfort and ease at shooting outdoor location shoots. According to Anchorage, Lina stated, "Most of us silent performers wound up working in westerns. It was a job, and the scenery was beautiful when we were on location." The first of these westerns was 1930's The Dude Wrangler. After playing a supporting role to rising star Jean Harlow in 1931's Goldie, Lina next supported silent to talkie stars in the same situation as her, Conway Turrell and Carmel Myers, in Pleasure. Lina played Helen, a dancer and model, for George, played by Paul Page, who's in love with Joan, played by Florence Dade, who Paul's brother, played by Conway Turrell, is having an affair with. A lot of romantic complications ensue. It was a smaller supporting role for Lina, but she made the most of it. Check out this
You're
scene.
a good time, Charlie, all right. Yes, you are. Do I ever go out? No. Did he ever show me a good time? No. Do I ever get any new clothes? All I ever get is promises. Well, you better look out, big boy. Someday I'm going to put a breach in one of those promises.
Oh, listen, honey.
Honey. Honey. Well, you can can that honey stuff. What do you think I am, a pancake?
As you saw, Lina continued her feisty screen persona in the talkies and made the most of her brief appearance here as a dancer and artist model. Lina had a larger leading role in Arizona Terror, also released in 1931 and co-starring Western star Ken Maynard and Tarzan the Wonder Horse. Lina played Kay Moore, the daughter of a ranch owner who is victim to Captain Cole Porter, what a name for a character, who scams rangers out of cattle to later kill them and get money. Meanwhile, the Arizonian, played by Maynard, is on the case, only to be mistaken for the bad guy. Western complications ensue. Here's Lina in a scene with Porter, played by Hooper Ashley.
You've been very kind to me, Captain Porter.
No more than I would be to my own sister.
But I can't lean on you any longer. I'll have to take hold of the ranch myself. You mustn't neglect your business on my account.
Well, as all my funds are tied up at the present, there's been no business to neglect. But I've had several wonderful opportunities, and as long as I can't profit by them myself, I'd like to pass one or two deals over to you.
Well, that would be fine.
But we'll talk about that tomorrow.
In this film, Lina was more of the moral center of the story, working hard to keep the ranch going for her father. The film got decent notices. Next up, Lina continued on with another starring role in a Western, The Hard Hombre, supporting Western star Hoot Gibson. The film followed Hoot as Peaceful Patton, a kind ranger that is mistaken for an outlaw named the Hard Hombre. Lina played another ranger's daughter who becomes the love interest of Hoot's character. Observe Lina's work in this scene.
He is the hard hombre. Put that fella in his buggy. Get in and get out of this valley. Ever show up around here again, I won't let you off so easy.
You big brute!
While Lina had no dialogue in this scene, I chose it for a few reasons. She gets to demonstrate her considerable talents for facial reactions and physicality, which of course helped her when she was in silent films. Another cool bit of trivia is that the other woman in this scene that steals the scene from everyone else and says, "Ya brute," is played by none other than Florence Lawrence, the first movie star, who in 1910 became said first movie star when her name was revealed to the American public. Prior to this, actors' names were not credited in an attempt to dissuade egos from developing. Despite being the world's first movie star and inventing the turd signal for cars, which she unfortunately did not patent, Florence's career faltered by mismanagement, and by the 1920s she was all but washed up as a star, but kept working into the 1930s in supporting roles. But I digress. Another film that Lina made in 1931 was Morals for Women, another B-movie in a supporting role. She seemed to only find starring roles in westerns, but again, that was no problem for Lina. She just enjoyed working. Anyways, Morals for Women saw her playing Claudia, a friend of the heroine, Bessie Love, played by Bessie Love. Check out this scene with Lina, with Bessie Love, Natalie Moorhead, and Virginia Lee Corbin.
Come on in.
Can you get in?
That remains to be seen.
Oh, hello. Why, Helen, are you back? Back? What do you mean back? Can't you see she's just passing through Albany?
You shouldn't tell her that. You'll give her the wrong impression of Albany. Nobody ever passes through there. They always spend the night.
I spent 2 nights there once.
Oh! I would say somebody's moving.
In or out?
You would think of that.
Well, I was all...
Here, we see Lina to return to her feisty girl screen persona again, used here to keep nosy neighbor Virginia Lee Corbin at bay. Variety praised Lina and all of her co-stars, but mentioned Lina with Natalie and Virginia Lee as adding smart comedy intervals to the otherwise dramatic story. Stick with me now for Lina Basquette Part 3.